Hello, this is Kerry with the December 2023 Vedic Astrology forecast. Let's start with a summary from the 9 planets. The Sun in Scorpio during the first half of December inspires us to shine our light in the deepest places in order to dig for lost treasures and pockets of courage. We may be able to see current situations from a different perspective that pushes us into creative innovations. The Sun moves into Sagittarius on December 14th, which could leave us feeling like our recent efforts and gambles have paid off as we find ourselves on a new pathway. The positive effects of growth-oriented Jupiter aspecting the Sun could really begin to glow after the new year spins us into a fresh set of circumstances. The Moon. The first part of December sees the Moon waning, with not much other big activity with the planets. On December 12th, the Moon joins the Sun for the new moon in Scorpio. Try to plan a light schedule around this time to make room for self-care and low energy. The first half of December is good for an internal deep dive. The latter half of December sees the Moon waxing past the other planets in the later zodiac signs, resulting in desire for interaction and social activity. The full moon comes on December 26th in the sign of Gemini, further alerting us that it's time to learn new things. Find your teachers and start studying. Mars. Mars pushes us to manage our power and resources, and December sees Mars strongly placed in his own sign of Scorpio through December 27th. This energy can assist us in anchoring into our strength and courage as we prepare to push into new paradigms. Transformation isn't always glamorous, and Mars in Scorpio helps us to get into the difficult work that comes with deep change. Mars moves to Sagittarius on December 27th, preparing us for liftoff. As we move into 2024, get ready for some real movement and growth. Planning and strategy sessions will be valuable through December. Mercury does his famous dance move for the holidays, a retrograde phase from December 13th through January 1st. We can feel a bit of chaos during these times, as Mercury, who rules communication and exchanges, can go a little wild when retrograde. This can put holiday travel and shopping into a somewhat frantic state. Plan accordingly, with lots of reconfirming and double or triple checking. Supported activities for Mercury retrograde involve anything starting with repair, restore, revive, rejuvenate, realign, revisit, and so on. Time for editing and digging out the languishing writing projects, people. Jupiter. Jupiter is known as the great teacher who we call guru, fostering growth, positivity, abundance, and wisdom. These qualities may have felt a bit deflated since September, when Jupiter began a retrograde phase. Since late November, we may have felt an increase in clarity or good vibrations due to Rahu moving out of Jupiter's space. Jupiter resumes direct motion in Aries on December 30th, with the intention of getting us going in the best way. Again, create those vision boards and lists during December with the intention of making it happen in January. Venus. The creative, connective, and social energy of Venus soars high in December as she transits the dynamic sign of Libra through December 24th. Similar to Mars, Venus is preparing for exciting projects in 2024, and the first few weeks of December could be an amazing think tank environment. Share ideas, sketch it out, and connect with your collaborators. Venus moves quickly into Scorpio from December 24th through January 18th, giving us a chance to put our ideas into practice as we dig deeply for creative inspiration and begin to make our marks. Saturn. Saturn applies pressure and limitation in life that act as guardrails to keep us on track. This sometimes come out as the universe telling us, no, not yet. Making our progress difficult and requiring us to work with determination is Saturn's magic. Saturn continues the transit of Aquarius, his own sign, through March of 2025. Through April of 2024, Saturn's aspect strongly hits Jupiter in Aries, reminding us that growing too much too quickly can result in weak foundations. Stay the course, keep it steady, and use the patience and determination of Saturn to avoid costly mistakes. Rahu, the north node of the moon. Rahu is the eclipse-causing north node of the moon, known for his unusual approaches, chaotic events, and surprising innovations. December 2024 is the first of 18 months that we will see Rahu transiting through the universal and watery sign of Pisces. If Pisces, Cancer, Virgo, or Scorpio signs play a big role in the personal horoscope, expect the unexpected to arrive on your doorstep in some form. It may not be good or bad, but it's probably some form of both, demanding new levels of surrender to forces beyond your control. While Mars and Saturn have you carefully planning, remember to leave ample space on the table for the unexpected brought by Rahu. Ketu, the south node of the moon. Ketu is the body to Rahu's fierce head, and these two shadow planets move in tandem. December will be the first full month that we experience Ketu moving through the sign of Virgo through May of 2025. It may be worth figuring out what domain of life Virgo covers in your horoscope, because that spot may begin to experience some changes this month. The energy of Ketu can be quite mysterious, both hot and cold, quick-moving and stuck, all at once. Generally, to get your attention, Ketu comes with obstacles and puzzles. The point is that it's time to look up, make a hard left turn, or throw the vehicle into reverse. How we respond to barriers defines our approach to life. For an in-depth analysis of specific planetary placements, please continue listening to the full planetary forecast. New moon in Scorpio, Jesta Nakshatra, on December 12th. During the first 12 days of December, the astrological weather is somewhat quiet after a bunch of shifting that came in late November. The moon wanes during the first part of December after a dynamic full moon on November 27th. The final days of November also saw Mercury, Venus, and the true calculation of the nodal axis all shift, putting us into gear for finalizing our 2023 projects. The landscape of early December is interesting. The big shift of the nodal axis sandwiches Rahu between Saturn and Jupiter. This will remain in force through April of 2024 and could bring some clarity about direction. Saturn still pushes his aspect onto Jupiter through April, slowing progress, but giving the opportunity for foundational adjustments that ensure better stability and adaptability going forward. With the next big shift being Jupiter's move to Taurus on May 1st, 2024, and knowing that it will be the first time in 3 to 5 years that Jupiter's growth potential isn't saddled by the conjunction or aspect of Saturn, we may have patience with the upcoming months that could feature yet more delays. Look at those delays as opportunities to back out of what doesn't feel right or to repair, rewire, and rebuild parts that are essential to the future growth potential. Also on the horizon are some Mars and Venus moments. In December, Venus and Mars will be occupying adjacent signs while they are both in good dignity by occupying signs that they rule. Venus in Libra from November 29th through December 24th, and Mars in Scorpio from November 16th through December 27th. During this first part of December, we could regain perspective about how we want to share our time and resources with others in business, family, political, or any relational situation. The Sun and Moon join at 27 degrees Scorpio in the lunar nakshatra Jesta on December 12th, which is a Tuesday, the day of Mars, who joins his friends, the Sun and Moon, in Jesta. New moon moments can feel vulnerable and raw. With the strong Scorpio energy being stirred mid-month, protect yourself with extra time and space as you dive deeply, searching for the strength and courage to push through. Moon, Sun, and Mars all join in the nakshatra Jesta on December 12th, in the latter degrees of Scorpio that are associated with deep work, preparing for transitions, and protecting resources. The new moon moment can be a still point that gives us time to reflect and relax, allowing the release of what has been spent while we gather our forces for the next trial. The trio in Scorpio benefits from a Shubhakartari yoga, meaning that the signs on either side of Scorpio are occupied by benefic planets, in this case Mercury in Sagittarius and Venus in Libra. This combination provides positive support that should help with communication and connection. In those moments of difficulty, just a small shift or glance upward can show us that there are hands reaching out to help. Adding some challenge and uncertainty to this new moon will be the compound aspects coming into Scorpio from Saturn in Aquarius and Rahu in Pisces. The Rahu aspect is especially strong and tight, bringing in an element of unexpected energy that could be both upsetting and also the source of information or ideas that spark innovative new plans. Saturn's input urges us to keep an eye on the prize, stay disciplined, and to let go of defunct resources. Tough decisions may be part of the mix during mid-December. Mercury retrograde, December 13th through January 1st. Mercury, the planet who helps us design our transactions, including communication of all kind, is helping us wrap up 2023 in style. Mercury entered Jupiter's fire sign, Sagittarius, on November 27th, putting him strongly under Jupiter's umbrella through the holidays. Jupiter is currently retrograde through the end of December, which compounds the retrograde connection of the great teacher, Jupiter, and his enthusiastic student, Mercury. Both planets will be posited in fire signs, pointing our attention to the expansive Sagittarius where Mercury will be, thinking about starting some kind of big new educational program, or maybe about revisiting an abandoned course of learning or even teaching. Mercury's retrograde phase begins at 15 degrees Sagittarius on December 13th, when we see Mercury's forward progress through the zodiac slow and stop before retracing his path through the early degrees of Sagittarius. By December 27th, we see Mercury dipping back into Scorpio, where he resumes direct motion at 20 degrees Scorpio on January 1st, 2024. After resuming direct motion, Mercury pushes back into Sagittarius on January 7th, carrying us gleefully forward through our New Year's resolutions. With Mercury retrograde and receiving an aspect of Jupiter, also retrograde, As we finish our last weeks in 2023, it may be time to pull out your notebook or your languishing educational plans and begin to integrate them into your 2024 visions. Sun transits Sagittarius from December 16th through January 14th. The sun takes a nosedive each year as we move into the winter solstice, which marks the sun's return to the northern direction and occurs on December 21st. The center of our galaxy lies in the direction of 7 degrees of the constellation of Sagittarius. The solstice occurs when the sun is at about 6 degrees Sagittarius, reminding us that we are in an era when our shortest and darkest days of the year in the northern hemisphere coincide with the sun passing by our direction to the galactic center. Turns out the dark days of winter are perfect for connecting to the source. This annual marking of the sun's direction changing course from south to north gives us an opportunity to tune in to the galactic center and can be used as a reset button of sorts. Am I on the right track? What is keeping me from a better direction? How can I build from this foundation? What needs to be left behind to lighten my load for the road ahead? With the sun moving through Sagittarius on its way toward the vernal equinox, we may begin to feel the warmth of hope due to this positive aspect from Jupiter in Aries, the only aspect coming at the sun during this time. Especially around New Year, when Jupiter resumes direct motion, we may begin to see the light that guides us forward, finally finding some assurance about our next stages of growth and personal expression. Venus transits Scorpio from December 24th through January 18th. Around the Christmas holiday, we see the champions of feminine and masculine energy shifting signs. First, Venus, ruler of human relationships, beauty, connection, luxury, feminine energy, and vitality, will move from her own air sign of Libra to Mars's water sign, Scorpio, from December 24th through January 18th. This puts Venus and Mars into the same sign briefly, a signal of interactions to come as the new year gets rolling. When Venus moves through Libra during the first part of December, we could find ourselves recovering and reconnecting after the past 18 months, during which time the obstructive Ketu was in occupation of Libra. This could have put a temporary stay on the indications that Libra handles in personal horoscopes. And in general, Ketu and Libra could have obstructed business matters and relationships. That gate has been lifted, so it is time to rejuvenate what has gotten tabled during the past year plus. Libra is a very social sign that acts as a pivotal place for networking, politics, relationships, and diplomacy. In December, rather than Rahu and Ketu dominating the Aries-Libra axis, instead we find the two great helpers facing off, with Jupiter in Aries and Venus in Libra. This is a good time for revisiting contracts and rebalancing relationships, as well as for redesigning educational pathways and repairing connections that may have suffered in the past year. There is an idealistic effect that comes from Libra, especially potent with Venus's move through there until December 24th. Be open to creating new plans and detaching from what isn't producing. When Venus moves to Scorpio during the last week of December, we move from the drawing board to the workbench. Get inspired to dig in and create as the new year gets going. Full moon in Gemini, December 26th. The moon gets very bright toward the end of December, as many are celebrating the holidays. By December 26th, we see the moon reach its peak brightness at 11 degrees Gemini in the nakshatra of Ardra, while the sun shines at 11 degrees Sagittarius in the nakshatra Mula. A couple of main themes shine through here. First, the signs of Gemini and Sagittarius are lorded by the planets Mercury and Jupiter. And the interaction between the eternal student, Mercury, and the great teacher, Jupiter, is quite active through December, with both planets retrograde, and with Mercury occupying Jupiter's sign and receiving the aspect of Jupiter. This has been discussed above, with the takeaway being that we may want to look into reviving educational trajectories. The sun and moon lining up and shining brightly in Jupiter and Mercury's signs further emphasizes this energy. Going deeper, we analyze the nakshatra positions of the luminaries. The sun occupies Mula nakshatra, ruled by the shadow planet Ketu, while the moon occupies Ardra nakshatra, ruled by the shadow planet Rahu. This brings a textured undertone to this moment. With the nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, newly settled into the next 18-month transit from the positions of Pisces and Virgo, opposite signs ruled by, wait for it, Jupiter and Mercury. So, the second theme comes through Rahu and Ketu combining energy with Jupiter and Mercury, pushing us forward into new chapters. This puts foundational energy in all four of the dual signs, which are ruled by Mercury and Jupiter: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. As we wrap up one calendar year and turn toward the next, the transitional and flexible nature of the dual signs supports us. Time to move. Mars transits Sagittarius, December 27th through February 5th. After a few days of Venus joining Mars in his water sign Scorpio, Mars pushes his agenda through the Gandanta degrees that bridge Scorpio and Sagittarius, which in some way could feel like a strong effort to make it to the next level or station. Just like Venus moving from drawing board to workbench, we see Mars move from the practice studio to the battlefield in late December. Mars in Scorpio is a powerful transit, currently aspected by the intense combination of Saturn and Rahu. For most of December, we have Mars giving us a slow, steady burn, keeping us focused internally and paying attention to how we are about to transform our power. Similar to the description of the new moon of December 12th, we benefit from the enthusiastic and creative energy of Mars and Venus cushioning Scorpio, while at the same time we negotiate the pressure and unpredictability coming from Saturn and Rahu. A good plan would be to expect delays and discomfort that act as signals that inspire even more comfort and efficiency in your designs. As Mars moves forward into Sagittarius, he encounters retrograde Mercury sliding back into Scorpio on December 27th. As with any retrograde energy, we may encounter the possibly frustrating energy of redoing or recalibrating. Knowing that this wave is ahead, plan for it so that you can enjoy the opportunity to refine rather than curse the delay of forward progress. A solid positive that comes from this transit of Mars through Sagittarius is that it puts Jupiter and Mars into parivartana, an exchange of signs. Both planets powerfully benefit from this transit and can uplift us as we step onto new pathways, forging ahead with our growth. The last few days of December will offer a buffet of fine-tuning opportunities. This could be a great time to discover refinements you couldn't perceive before. Jupiter direct in Aries, December 30th. As 2023 comes to a close, the great Jupiter will station direct at 12 degrees Aries, after a retrograde cycle that began September 4th. Retrograde motion can make it difficult to predict the effects of a planet, as well as manifesting results that are opposite from what we might expect. Since Jupiter's main effects are positivity, expansion, and growth, we may have been missing those during the past few months. When Jupiter resumes direct motion, we could be looking at some growth potential ahead. Not only will Jupiter's positive, warm glow flow with more grace, but also Jupiter will be direct in Aries, a friendly sign, this time without the added complications of a Rahu conjunction. This particularly benefits the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. After a rough road during the past 18 months, those three signs could begin to recover and make some forward progress. It should be noted that Saturn's contraction tends to counterbalance the expansion of Jupiter, and for Aries and Leo, this will be strongly felt. Saturn's aspect continues to support and pressure Aries, Leo, and Scorpio through March of 2025. So, while we may have Jupiter free of Rahu's confusion, there are still the rules and regulations of Saturn to curb any kind of wild, rapid growth. The takeaway here is patience. Since the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn during December of 2020, we have had Saturn strongly influencing Jupiter's growth potential. To say growth in general has been slow or none during the past few years isn't far from the truth. With Rahu influencing Jupiter by conjunction from April through November of 2023, things could have been especially frustrating or even frightening for many. As 2024 comes into play, we will see forward-moving Jupiter progress quickly through fiery Aries, transiting into Venus's Earth sign Taurus from May 1st, 2024 to May 14th, 2025. When Jupiter gets to Taurus in May, it will be the first time in years that Saturn's limitation won't be able to reach Jupiter's hopeful and positive desire for growth and abundance. Use the transition to a new calendar year and the first quarter of 2024 to set yourself up for a proper growth spurt, a new educational trajectory, and updated business strategies. With the new positions of Rahu and Ketu taking root, focus on new or revived desires, as they may be setting the stage for a new act in your play. Happy holidays to one and all.